Welcome to Boxing During Dinner. Armando Alvarez, Victor Bermudez, and David Barry, as always. And we see one more face in the bunch. That's our special guest. He's one of the hottest prospects in all of boxing, and he's only 18 years old, which is pretty crazy. But before we started taping, I told him I've been covering boxing longer than he's been alive, which is actually true and sad at the same time. But we want to welcome Xander Zayas to Boxing During Dinner. Xander, thank you for joining us.
Guys, thank you for having me here. It's a great opportunity and a pleasure to be talking to you guys today.
Xander, just to tell you a little background about the show. So David and I started the show years ago, and we would go to restaurants and eat free food, but free because we were actually advertising the place, right? So, in the future, we're gonna do that again, and you'd be joining us for a nice dinner. That being said, you're training, you're fighting pretty often. Obviously, you have to make some sacrifices on food. I'm guessing a lot of the time. Then
Yes,
again, you're 18 and have a great metabolism right now, right? But
Always
Xander,
fighting for 47.
when when you're training and you have to give up some of those foods, what do you miss the most? What's like the your go-to food?
um, I'll say the chicken Alfredo.
Oh,
That's my favorite food. So I kind of like gotta get away from it. But my nutritionist kind of like helps me because she put pasta, maybe not the chicken Alfredo one, but she put like pasta with white sauce and some chicken. So she kind of like you know help me and like let me have a little bit of fun throughout the weight cut. Other than that, just candy. I love candy. I think that every boxer can tell you that. So I think that's something that I miss the most. I don't drink soda, so I wouldn't say soda, but candy, yeah, I love candy and I miss it.
an important question. Are you a salty candy or a sweets candy type of guy?
It don't really matter. Candy is candy. I just eat
Yeah.
it.
Feel
All
that.
types of candy.
Awesome.
And Xander, obviously you started in the sport. Well, you started in the sport a while ago. I mean, since you were
Yes.
a kid, going to gyms. I mean, I've seen the pictures, I've seen the footage. But now you're a professional. How has this ride been? Because not everybody, when they're as young as you are, accepts this responsibility, with maturity. You've shown maturity so far. A person, a legend, actually, not a person, a legend from your country, Wilfredo Benitez, won a world title at 17. There's different levels of maturity. You're showing to be really mature for 18. How has this ride been? How have you been assimilating to your life as a professional boxer?
It's been amazing. Just to think about the 2 years ago, October of 2019, I was 0-0 as a professional boxer going into my first fight.
I had the same record at the time.
Now,
Actually.
yeah, now June 28th, 2021, I'm 9-0. It's crazy to think about. I always talk to my team about it. It's like, man, we are about to go into that double digit here really soon. It's been an amazing ride. I've been learning a lot. I've experienced a lot of good things. I've grown as a fighter, as a person. My team has been there for me since day one. My family. So overall, it's been an amazing experience and something that if I had the chance to do it again, I would do it again.
Let me ask you this, Xander. One of the things that I'm struck by is the thing that Armando asked, and a lot of people are going to continue to ask you this while you're young. You are young. Um, yeah, but I'm always struck by the fact that, in this sport in particular, I think boxing demands more of its participants than any sport. It's an individual sport, and there's the combat element, and the level of discipline required is a no days off type of mentality.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel a pull between what I would think are maybe the normal desires of an 18-year-old wanting to experience any number of things? It could be travel, it could be dating, partying, all sorts of things, or just having a day where you're not obligated to be on. You're obviously somebody who's got great energy and a charisma that people really cling on to. But I imagine with that comes a lot of obligation to be that person at all times. So when you do have your ups and downs, how do you navigate that?
Well, I don't I don't kind of like, how do I say this? I'm not the type of person to be out. I'm not the type of person to be partying. I'm not the type of person to go out. You know, when I go out with the same friends, and it's when I'm off camp. During camp, I put this rule to myself. You don't go out during camp. You don't go to sleep late during camp. You don't get home late during camp. You know, you stay focused, you stay dedicated, and that's what I've been doing since day one. Boxing is something that I've been doing for my whole life since I was 5 years old. So the discipline was there since day one, and that never changed. So why change it now? Why make something else happen when this has been working for so many years? So I think just having that discipline, having that family and that team circle around me is keeping me grounded and it's keeping me focused, with on my goals.
Xander, I'm one that's had the privilege to be here since the start, since the 0-0.
Yeah.
I can attest to everything you've just said because I have seen you out in public, and you're not about that lifestyle. You're not about that party. You're doing stuff for charity. You're doing stuff for kids. So just want to applaud you on that, man, because it's not. There's no lies coming out. This is really who you are. But you're wearing the Puerto Rico shirt. And you mentioned the date, June 28th. We're less than 2 months away from the Olympics. And these are the Olympics you're supposed to be at. 18 years of age, supposed to be representing Puerto Rico, but we've taken a different, approach as to your career, and you skipped the Olympics. You decided to turn pro. The fact that we're 2 months away and that is around the corner, any thoughts of like, man, this is where I'm supposed to be at. I'm supposed to be in Tokyo. I'm supposed to be, trying to obtain that gold medal for Puerto Rico.
Man, I truly believe that things happen for a reason. Tokyo wasn't meant to be. For whatever reason, it wasn't in my things to accomplish in life, and I'm not mad about it. It's been a great ride. I had a great amateur career. Now I'm having an awesome pro career. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself. I'm growing as a fighter. I'm growing as a person. My team, my family is growing with me. My promotional company is happy with my job. Things happen for a reason, and I just have to stay focused and keep the course going. Keep winning fights and bring the glory. Maybe not a gold medal, but bring a lot of championship. A lot of world titles back to Puerto Rico.
9-0, 7 by way of knockout. So not a bad way to, if you're going to skip the Olympics and just turn pro, not a bad way to be waiting for the Olympics. But what catches my eye the most of your 9-0 record, and we'll get to the fact that how many fights you want to accomplish this year, the prospect of the year, which is a big thing for you. We'll get to that later. But the fact that you're 9-0, 7 by way of knockout, as I've mentioned, only one of those fights have come against a fighter with an under 500 record. You're not just going in there against, you're not looking to pad the record. On here, at least I am extremely critical of the start of some of these guys' career. Many don't know Julio Cesar Chavez is one that I like to point out. Started his career 10-0. Obviously, he went out to 89-0. But the first 10 fights were against guys making their pro debut. Guys who didn't deserve to be in the ring with Julio Cesar Chavez. That's not the approach you've taken or your team. The fact that you're undefeated, but all of those wins have come against guys outside of one who have a winning record. How important is that? Something you guys focus on? Is it something you've decided on, or how does that come about? Because normally you're supposed to be fighting guys that are 4-12, 5-5, 0-3, but here you are taking on some pretty stiff competition.
Well, I feel that when you have somebody that could push you, that could give you a challenge, I can perform better. I can stay focused. I can do the right thing. Listen to my corner, follow the game plan, and break a guy down. When you have somebody that is not at your level, you get lazy. You start getting hit, or you start getting touched with stuff that you shouldn't be getting touched with. At the level that I'm at. So I think having guys with good records and good experience in the ring with me helps me a lot because he helped me to stay focused. He helped me to, stay sharp and just, again, break everybody down that they put in front of me. Top Rank has been doing a great job sending me great opponents. My team has been doing a great job, during training camp, focusing on those opponents and, just, again, stepping in the ring and doing our job and getting that victory.
I was going to ask, and I don't mean to jump so far ahead in your future, right? But we've talked too much at this point about the fact that you're 18 years old. You're on I won't call it a fast track, but a moderate track towards a world title contention. I've got to think in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe sooner. That would be a young achievement, one that, sorry to blow sunshine up your ass, but one that a lot of people think that you are destined to have. You look at the people who came before you in an island with a great heritage in this sport. Miguel Cotto, you and I share him as a favorite fighter, who is one of the most honest fighters that I think has stepped in a boxing ring. You just always got a purity in his effort.
Xander, I could attest to that. David loves Miguel Cotto. I'm surprised his son isn't named Miguel Cotto Berry.
My wife wouldn't let me. Trust me, we tried. My wife wouldn't let me name this Miguel Cotto Berry. But so the reason I ask is because there's a very real scenario where you become a world champion at an extremely young age with so much of your life ahead of you. When you think about what it is that you want to achieve and beyond perhaps just boxing, what is your why as you move forward in your career beyond just the titles? You talk a lot about your family, and it's abundantly clear by the way your career has been managed, even from the time that you passed over the Olympics, signed with Peter Kahn, trained with Javier Centeno, signed with Top Rank. There's a greater purpose, it seems, to what you're working on. If you could answer that, what do you think it is?
My family, make all the things that I promised to my dad, Orlando Garcia, and to my mom, Yaitza Castro, happen. That's very important to me. Every time I wake up, I just think about them, all the sacrifice they put in to get me to where I am today. All the late nights that they probably had, or went through for me to be at this point. My sister, taking no vacation with her friends, or not going in trips with her friends because Xander had to go to a tournament or because Xander had a fight coming up. That's truly my why. That's truly my why. Also, leaving a mark in the sport, and not just in the sport, in people's life, people that look at me, people that follows me, leaving a mark in their life and showing them that with hard work, with dedication, with the right people around you, anything can happen. Anything is possible. You could be the youngest ever. You could be an undisputed world champion. You could be prospect of the year. Anything that you want to be. I think that's also very important, and those are two of my whys.
And Xander, we're gonna hear from a person who knows you very well in just a minute, but I have to ask you before we hear from him. Victor touched on Puerto Rico, so did David. You have it proudly worn right next to your heart. I see the flag in the background. Puerto Rico is a country that took in my grandfather and my family after they left Cuba. It's where my father-in-law is from. My son, who's about to turn 4 years old, he has Puerto Rican blood. So it's a country that I love very much, and I love it for what they brought to the fight game. I mean, I don't have to mention all of them, but Wilfredo Gomez, Wilfredo Benitez, Tito Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, and on and on and on and on. Right now, there seems to be like this lull, right? In Puerto Rican boxing, we haven't seen the glory, right, of years past, like
Sniper Pedraza
and stuff, right? I mean,
Xander.
Right. And so yeah, we're seeing you and Sniper Pedraza and a couple of others, right, that are trying to make their mark. But do you feel, and not to put any pressure, right, but do you feel like you're destined to be the next big thing from Puerto Rico, the next big fighter? Because it's, to me, it's a beautiful thing, and you have some very, very good role models that came before you.
Well, like you said, I don't feel any pressure. I do feel a responsibility to bring glory to Puerto Rico, to bring those titles, so that happiness back to the island. I do feel that I could be the next big fighter coming from Puerto Rico. But again, I'm 9-0. I just have to stay focused, stay dedicated, keep following my team and my family advice, and just keep being me. The rest will come along, and I promise that I will bring glory to my island of Puerto Rico.
And we're finally going to hear from someone who, like I said, knows you very well, has been with you since day one, Javier Centeno. I've known JC. Well, we've all known JC a long time. Again, probably longer than you've been alive. Again, showing my age again. But Javier's a great guy. Victor and I had an opportunity to speak to him very recently, and we asked him about the progress in your career and about your future.
We all forget, and I always have to remind myself as well that he's just 18 years old.
It's crazy.
He gets into that ring and he looks like a man, but we have to remember that he's 18, and it's making sure we stay, sound with his fundamentals, and then just keep developing him as a fighter. He's on the right path. He's on the right path, and I'm excited. The kid is, he's fighting at 147 pounds. Sky's the limit for him in terms of, weight class and what he can do. We have all the time in the world.
And again, that was Javier Centeno, who trains Xander Zayas. Xander, how do you feel listening to those words from your trainer? Because like I said, he's been there with you since day one. He's a guy that knows, aside from training, he follows boxing. He loves boxing. Yes. He was telling me how with his parents every single weekend, even if they have to pop in an old VHS tape with an old fight, they're watching boxing. So how has it been training with Javier, and how do you feel listening to those words from your trainer?
Man, it means a lot. It means a lot. He motivates me to keep training hard, to keep showing up every day and giving my maximum effort. He's always had my back. My dad always has my back. He's like another father figure to me. Sometimes he had to cut vacation with his family to go out to a tournament with me. So, the sacrifice that he and his family and my family has made to be where we are today means a lot to me. And I know that in the future it will pay off, and I will make my coach of the year one day.
Nice. I love it.
Man, it just means a lot. It just means a lot. Man, I just don't know what to say. He's just a great person. Has taught me a lot of things, in boxing and in life. Anytime I need something, anytime I need an advice, anytime I need whatever I need in doing training, he's there for me. So I just want to thank him. If he sees this, I love you, coach. And the sky's the limit, like you said. We coming for everything, and gonna make you proud.
He better watch this. If not, I'm gonna let him have it.
Xander, you mentioned something when David asked you a question that caught my attention. Knowing you personally, knowing some of your likes, you said you don't feel any pressure. I know who your favorite basketball team is, the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't hold that against you because you live in Miami. You should be rooting for the Heat. But something that catches my attention, you saying you don't feel any pressure, and being a Laker fan, being a fan of LeBron James, I see some similarities between.
No, wait. Fan of LeBron James. I'm a fan of the Lakers. Well, I do like LeBron James, but I'm a fan of the Lakers. I'm a fan of Kobe Bryant.
I'm going to tie it into LeBron. You and LeBron James, you're yes. coming into the sport of boxing. LeBron James came into basketball with a ton of pressure. He was the chosen one. He was the king. He was drafted first overall. Here you are, 18 years of age, the youngest fighter to ever sign a pro contract with Top Rank. This is Top Rank Boxing. We on this show value Top Rank. We mentioned numerous times what Bob Arum means to boxing, the fact that he's promoted the greats. I mean, all of the greats that have come through the sport of boxing, most recently, ones that you would remember, Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather, but you want to talk about the Ali, all the greats of the sport of boxing. And he has taken this liking to you to offer you a contract at such a young age where you weren't even old enough to debut in the majority of the states. You could only debut in either Vegas or Texas. And here he is, Bob Arum, putting all this in your basket, saying you are the next biggest star coming out of Puerto Rico. And yet you tell me you don't feel any pressure?
It's just a matter of staying focused. It's a matter of doing my job. It's a matter of believing in myself, believing in my team's work. It's a matter of just being me. Do what I do best. That's box and showcase my talent every time I step into the ring. You know, focus, hard work, dedication will take me anywhere I want to go in life.
So Armando gave me a chance to ask the last question here. So I'm going to try to point it towards the future, as I guess a couple of my questions have been. And Victor made a good point with respect to the opponents that you've had in your career at this point. It's been great matchmaking, as is always the case by Top Rank, but not just great matchmaking. It's also been against guys who are progressively providing stiffer tests, or at least on paper they are. You're still blowing through them. I could make the argument, and I'm sure you might co-sign this, that you're actually probably getting better work inside the gym. You're training with guys like George Cambosos, and were a lot of welterweights in town. I know Sean Porter was at the gym recently. I'm not sure if you sparred. You have to look at the welterweight landscape and some of the sparring sessions you've had and the class of fighter that you've been in the ring with already, and have a pretty good assessment on what you could do if given the opportunity. Now, I know Top Rank is going to do the right thing by you and sort of take their time, as they should. When you look at the landscape right now of welterweight, in your heart, where do you think you fit in today among the elite of the class if given that opportunity?
It's just a lot of names. You have Terrence Brock Crawford, Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, Thurman, Danny Garcia, Porter. We go to the young fighters, Virgil Ortiz, Butch Ennis. You have a lot of different styles. If you want me to be honest with you,
as best as you're willing to be.
I don't like putting myself below anybody, but being realistic right now, I'll probably be at the bottom of that list for now. 9-0, 18 years old. At the bottom of that great top fighters. I'll be at the bottom right now. There's no pressure again. Everything goes step by step. And I know one day I will come back to you guys and say I'm the number one on that list. But for now, we stick to the little leagues. You know, we going little by little. We're taking it everything step by step, and we will get to that number one. I promise you that.
Yeah, I've wanted you to break character so many times, and you won't do it, which is an indication that there's quite a bit of it in you. So kudos.
I love it, and you know what, Xander, when you say that, I truly believe you. And before we wrap up, I know David had the final question, but I have to just ask you. You were just in high school very, very recently. How was it just walking through those halls, being a professional boxer, man? Like to me, like you would have been that kid that I wanted to hang out with. Like, yo, this is my boy. I want to hang out with that kid.
I worked at the car wash. No, I didn't really get that kind of look.
It was cool. Through high school, I have a certain amount of friends. I didn't like to be around many people. I was most of the time with the same people, the same group. It was literally me and one more person. So when I signed pro, it was kind of, you saw like every eyeball on you, and everybody was trying to fit in, trying to, get into the group. But again, I knew who I was. I knew what type of person I was and what type of person I am. And I stayed true to myself. It was awesome. It was awesome saying, having all the people looking at me and trying to talk to me. But at the end of the day, I know who I am. I know what I represent, and I know what I want to do in life. So I just, again, stay true to myself during that high school process of being a pro boxer.
I won't turn this.
I love it. I
I
love it.
won't turn this into a question, but perhaps a final statement then. Armando, I promise I'm not just trying to get the last word, but
I'm sure he is. No, I'm just kidding.
one of the things that is really clear to me is this belief, is this awareness of self. If you never fought again, and I don't mean this to be like fatherly advice or a statement or anything like that, that I think is the best quality you could have. It's a quality that I don't think a lot of fighters have. We talked a few weeks ago, and I don't mean to ever denigrate someone who steps in the ring, but we saw against Jorge Linares, Devin Haney, a very, very talented fighter, but seemed, especially in the post-fight interactions, unsure of what he could do, unsure of himself was as a fighter. And I understand there's moments of doubt, but I applaud you on having that sense of awareness, that sense of self, and that belief in yourself, because I think that's, if there's any example you believe that you could provide to whether it's future fighters or even just kids or even adults who are sitting here, watching you and wondering, man, could we really take boxing during dinner to the next level? I applaud you for that level of self-belief in yourself. And I think that's a substantial model that you could be leaving for the people who are going to be watching you, and that number grows by the week.
Thank you. Well, my dad is somebody that I could tell you that he won't lie to himself. He wouldn't lie to me. He wouldn't lie to nobody. Somebody else that I look at that is really, really honest, JC, my mother, my favorite fighter, Miguel Cotto. Anytime he lost or anytime he had a great fight, he never put excuses. He never said, "Oh, it was because of this, it was because of that." He lost. That's what it's about. You stay true to yourself. You go back and train harder. The same thing with my dad. Anytime I do something wrong or I'm not doing something right, he tells me, "Hey, you're not doing something right. You gotta step it up." And he's honest with me. So I just tried again to stay true to myself and be honest with who I am. That's what's gonna take me to the next level.
And Xander, man, we want to thank you for joining us. We want to wish you all the luck in the world. We have to stay, or at least try to appear to stay unbiased. But dude, I'm so rooting for you. I mean, you're mature, but beyond your years. We have a friendship with your trainer and your manager. So it's a little bit of bias there, but man,
you don't have to be unbiased. No one's right. No one's.
I'm fully biased here.
He's really
fully
cool.
biased
We
here.
got to be fully biased.
One girl is at the Madison Square Garden Hall of Fame, and the other one sits here. Man, I'm fully biased. I'm Team Xander all the way. I don't care who it's up against.
That's man, good. Again, I just want to thank you guys for the great time. Great questions. I've never been asked this type of question, so it was amazing. You guys really had me thinking. So again, thank you guys, Victor, Armando, David. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we could do it again soon. You guys send me the link and I'll be on.
Absolutely, man.
We'll do it again before the next fight.
And next time it'll be in person. Next time it'll be in person.
Got it.
With some chicken and Alfredo sauce.
A whole container of it. No, that'd be rude.